What does your average day look like? Is it busy? Have you got loads of obligations, loads of responsibilities, and and you're dealing with loads of things? You've got loads of stuff on your plate, or maybe it's the opposite, and you've not got any responsibilities, any obligations. Maybe just your work, maybe just going to college or school, whatever it might be, whatever you might have going on. Now, I ask this question because this will obviously depend on your life, how old you are, whether you've got in a relationship or not, the relationship with your family, relationship with your friends, and there's loads of different variables. And part of this topic is to do with work-life balance, but the main part of this video that I particularly want to comment on is actually the kind of smaller section of the work-life balance topic that actually I think applies to people that maybe listen to that topic but are like me, or maybe other people that maybe more creative, or maybe just have you're just a personality that you don't necessarily naturally kind of lean into the need for work-life balance of any kind. But I'll get into that in just a bit, and that's the main topic of the video, because for a moment I just want to talk about, obviously, the disclaimer in that, as most people talking about the work-life balance topic, it will be families, mothers, fathers, parents as a whole, families and obligations and responsibilities, which, I can give my opinion on, but I can't comment on because I have not yet experienced that in my life. I've stepped, I've seen it. I've kind of, dipped my toe in looking at it from like an outsider's perspective as like a friend or family member, but that has not been my life yet, so I can't yet comment on, you know, as a non-father, I can't comment on what it's like being a father and trying to have work-life balance or whatever, or being a mother and having a work-life balance. So that's the disclaimer there. But what I do want to comment on is specifically for me is being a business owner and starting a business, starting, multiple businesses actually, but my main business starting as of 2023 going into 2024, and as of being a creative person, in the, this idea of you need to have these times off, and you need to have, you know, you have your work time, and you have a time for, just relaxing or just spending time with friends and family, whatever it might be. Now, I definitely think there is, the need to have breaks, because naturally we do need these breaks. I mean, in terms of actual human nature, we are wired biologically to only be able to focus for short periods of time. It's like the Pomodoro thing, basically, like 25 to 35 minutes, around the length of a sitcom, basically, is how long we can focus for without needing a break. Without needing a break. So naturally, yes, of course we do need breaks. But in terms of in general, over the course of days and weeks, what does our life look like? We can actually do more than what the whole work-life balance topic kind of expresses the concern for. Because I think, especially from someone that spends hours and hours every day working on a business, hours and hours and every day thinking about different ideas, as a creative person coming up with ideas and helping other people come up with ideas and talking to my friends and family about ideas, I can't switch it off. It's just me. It's my character. It's my personality. It's just naturally me. And whether it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m., it's me. If I'm awake in the middle of the night, I'll be thinking about it. If I'm being a nocturnal person and I'm all hours of the night, I'm thinking about stuff. So obviously, like, I won't wake myself up with a thought normally, but I think this idea that we need to go out of our natural way of what we naturally end up doing intuitively and without thinking about it, and going for this kind of strict routine of, we will only do this thing in shifts, and we're going to make sure that we're sticking to these responsibilities, is, I think, a bit of a myth. And that's not to say that being productive and having an organized schedule is bad, because I do think being structured with your day is good. But what you're doing in those structured times, I don't think needs to be what you don't want it to be. I think is the main message I want to convey here, and my main comment on this whole subject. Because as a creative person, as someone growing a business, as someone, just trying to, flesh out my ideas with friends and family and people I meet, I realize, being a creative person, when I get in the flow of a conversation, I come up with ideas. you know, the whole idea of balancing kind of what is work to me, what is, you know, hobbyist fun to me, and what is resting to me. Like, I don't, like, personally, for me anyway, I don't really categorize work and fun, because to me they're kind of one and the same, and I've even made videos about this anyway. The fact that, a lot of people have a limiting or negative belief about the whole idea of making your passion your work, but that's because you have a positive belief about what work is based on what you have done for work previously or up to now. Whereas if you realize that whatever you do for fun now is your hobby is, if that's what you were making money out of, then it wouldn't be tedious, and whatever you think work is now is boring or monotonous to you. And it's the same thing. So I think generally, like for me, yes, there is slightly differentiated times between when I'm doing some admin stuff for my business versus when I'm coming up with ideas for my business. There's slightly difference there, but I do naturally like kind of flow into them because I know it's just priorities I need to do. And yes, I might schedule some times for them, but generally, I don't really consider it any kind of balancing, like, fun idea times versus the boring admin times, because one thing leads to another, and I have to do this so I can do this, or I want to do this so I can do that. And so I think the idea, for me at least, of like, I am I, I don't naturally worry if I've spent all of my day thinking of ideas and I've not had a rest today from ideas, because it's just me as a creative person, just thinking things, letting stuff flow and coming out with all this stuff. And so I think the idea of not like making the decision to almost kind of force yourself out of what your natural flow is into this pre-set societal apparent standard, I think is a mistake. And I think that, it's obviously it's a separate conversation for people that have, again, family responsibilities and obligations, or whatever your responsibilities and obligations might be, family, business, whatever, career, whatever it might be. There's obviously those little different. There's a whole different conversation, and there's little caveats to this, as exceptions. But generally, I think if you're a creative person, especially, and I want to aim this at creative people, ignore work-life balance, because if you're a creative, you don't stop anyway, most of the time. Or you might be on like a writer's block thing, or like a creative block, but then you'll get in a flow, and then everything comes out. And sometimes you don't necessarily plan for that. You just randomly get an idea, boom, I want to do it. The same with me. I'll randomly, have a hour-long period or 50-minute long period where I just want to get this idea out on paper. I want to record this thing. And that's exactly what these videos are. These videos are me being as off the cuff as possible. It might look like there's a bit of a setup going on here, but really I've just got, a light stand that's no film big light stand. It's literally just like an AliExpress light bar. And yes, I have this thing because I used to do podcasts and things, so I've got a light here, but it's nothing special. But I just switch that on, film, and it takes me 15 seconds to start up and record. So I can be very off the cuff with these recordings, and it lets me get into a flow and get my ideas out. So I think that if you are a creative person, or if you are someone that just, not even creative, but naturally, whatever your like flow tasks are, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, I might talk about, if I've got the video uploaded already about flow tasks and following passions and things, I'll link it below. But if what you naturally flow into is something that you are kind of questioning whether you should look into work-life balance thing or the creative balance, I think it's just a mistake, and it's kind of leading people into this whole idea of you can't flow, basically. And like I said, there's a whole different conversation if you've got other responsibilities in your life. So there's caveats to it, and little little differences, but generally, exceptions, so that's the word. So generally, if you are a creative person, I personally don't really even think about it. I have friends and family, not so much friends, because a lot of my friends share this in common with me, especially my family though, because especially the family that I'm close with are very routine based. And so I often get asked, like, why are you doing this all day? Or, you're gonna have a rest today, you have a day off. While every day is like a day off to me, because every day I'm working to a certain extent. Every day I'm thinking a certain thing. Like every day I just flow. And I don't necessarily need to have days off. Yeah, I might have a day where I, you know, think about stuff less and just enjoy maybe what I've been working on or enjoy something else. But because I'm so in flow with what I'm doing, I don't need to take breaks because it's tedious work or it's boring work. And then thinking about all this, I think this massively does link to what your work is and what your career is. So I'll definitely link the video if I've uploaded it already about, you know, your work and your passion. So yeah, don't want to make this a massively long video, but I just kind of wanted to briefly talk about my opinion and comment on kind of being a creative person, being someone building a business, and how I see the kind of work and life balance. Because to me, yes, I haven't really got any responsibilities besides, my small, very small team of people and my clients and my small business and growing the business. But, besides that, I know many other people have much bigger responsibilities and have whole lives and livelihoods and friends and family and responsibilities and much bigger obligations. But generally, I think if you can find your flow and if you can find the areas that you can flow in, then don't allow this apparently new preset standard societal expectation of why should you should have a relaxing day of just doing whatever you want. Or what if I'm already doing what I want? And if you are, then don't lean into something that you don't naturally fall or flow into. So just, food for thought, and a bit of a random one compared to my other ones, because normally it's like an idea or something I want to share, but this is more of like a comment on the whole topic. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.